US 51 Country 93.5 FM, Dynamite Chad in the morning. Joined now by our guest for today. He is the head of Mason Studios. He is a director, a YouTuber, a filmmaker, an interviewer, a marketer, and
jack of all trades.
Yeah, et cetera. Josh Mason. Thanks for coming in, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me back on, man. I appreciate it.
Dude, you have had quite a life lately. You've been making the convention circuit.
Yeah, I know somebody at the convention I was just at this past weekend. I was in Jackson at West Tennessee, and they came up and they said, man, I feel like you've been like on tour or something. I said, I've never heard anybody describe it that way, but yeah, that's probably somewhat accurate. Yeah, so it's been exciting, man. Been hosting panels with celebrities and doing interviews, and was just in Chicago 2 weeks ago. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
It's been heavy on the video game side of things. This sort of leg of your tour or whatever
adventure, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. This the latest spate of conferences that you've been to have been heavy on the video game side, as far as the panels that you've done. Because you've done quite a bit of stuff around Mario. Mm-hmm. You did the new Mario. You've done the Princess Peach voice, I believe.
That's right, Bowser, Princess. The big one for me personally, because I'm a huge video game fan, huge gamer. And I've grew up on Nintendo, so all of it's really cool that I'm getting to host these panels for all these voice actors for characters I love so much. But specifically, the one I was most excited about was Patricia Somerset. She was at Southeast Game Exchange in South Carolina, and I got to host her panel on the main stage, and she is the voice actress for Princess Zelda in the new Zelda games, and I am a massive Legend of Zelda fan. So for me, that was kind of the one where I was like, this is like really, really cool, that I get to do this. Yeah. And she was super sweet. She's a sweetheart.
Do you find when you're talking about voice actors like that, when they're playing characters that are born out of video games, especially born out of the Nintendo era, where video games weren't quite as character driven, they were sort of basic stories, and the original Legend of Zelda, there were no lines. There was dialogue that popped up on the screen, I think. But,
right.
But do you find that these people try to do deep dives into what the characters have become over the years, or are they just trying to do a voice they feel like fits the look?
I think most of them are just doing the voice that fits the look. Sometimes you'll have some that will try to get deeper with it. It depends on the actor.
Yeah.
Some will try to get really deep, and you'll talk to them, and it's almost like they'll be describing this, I don't want to say silly because I love the characters too, but this silly Nintendo character that's kind of cartoony, they'll be describing them like they're, Hamlet or something, like it's Shakespeare or something like that. And then others just look at it as, oh no, it's just a simple fun thing I got to do. And, they're honored. All of them, everyone I speak to are really, truly honored they get to play these roles, because many of them, like us, grew up with those characters, and they never thought one day they would get to actually voice those roles. And so they're, just as excited as anybody would be. But yeah, it just depends on the actor. They're all different. They're all, at the end of the day, I tell people this, they're all just people, and they're just doing jobs or whatever. But yeah, they all have their own approaches, and that's what's been so fascinating about talking to so many of them.
You've also seen, I saw that Kurt Russell you were able to talk to.
Yeah, well, briefly. He was extremely brief, but yeah, he was in Chicago 2 weeks ago, and it was a big deal because it was his first convention appearance ever. And he, for the longest time, had been a celebrity that had said he would never do a con. He would never do a convention appearance. And then his son, Wyatt, who's also an actor, he had done a few of them, and he finally was the one that convinced his dad to do it, said, hey, look, these things are fun. You got to do it. So, yeah, he came to Chicago, and, I went and got my photo, got the autograph, did the whole thing, went to his panel. That was one I didn't host, but I did get to attend it, which was cool. And during the panel, Kurt talked about how it kind of changed his outlook on conventions, because he realized that it wasn't just a bunch of people there to get autographs to turn around and resell, that it was actually the fans, the people who grew up with his films and just really liked his movies. And so I think he has a different perspective on it now, having actually done one.
That's interesting. It reminds me of William Shatner very much and sort of Star Trek is the kind of precursor to the convention culture that we have now around entertainment, because before Star Trek, there really wasn't that much around it, but Star Trek only on TV for like 3 years, but became such a cultural phenomenon. And they started having conventions, and the original Star Trek actors would go. William Shatner would never go because he didn't want to be tied to Captain Kirk for the rest of his life.
And now that's all he does.
Yeah.
His God appearances.
But yeah, it was Leonard Nimoy who convinced him that, hey, you're misunderstanding what's going on here, and convinced him to go and interact with the fans, and eventually for him to embrace the fact that he would be known as Captain Kirk forever, and even reprise the role later. But yeah, it reminds me of that. You're talking about Wyatt Russell, son of Kurt Russell, U.S. agent. In
the Marvel.
He'll be in the upcoming
MCU,
Avengers movie, I believe.
Yeah. And they also, him and his dad, they acted together in the Godzilla TV show, The Monarch, The Legacy of Monsters. I think it's an Apple TV show.
Yeah, Apple TV. Yeah.
But yeah, they're both, I think they played the same character. Like one's the older version and then Wyatt's the younger version.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah. It's very, Kurt Russell, the one thing I would want to ask him about if I ever interviewed him is are you familiar with the Phoenix Lights UFO?
Yeah, vaguely. I'm vaguely familiar. Yeah, I think it was in Arizona, wasn't it?
Yeah, Phoenix, Arizona. In '97, huge sighting by almost everybody that lived in Phoenix of a UFO, and so, Kurt Russell was flying a plane at the time with his other son, adopted son Oliver. And they saw the thing from the sky, and he's talked about it a little bit, but I would love to ask him about that particular experience because, by the time they land, it's big news what they see, and they don't know when they're in the air. It's 97. You don't have like your cell phone. You can just go look and see what's happening. And, so when they land and they see what's on the news, like they're like, oh, well, I mean, that obviously that's what we saw. And, so, yeah. It's that's the cool story I would always want.
Yeah, that would be cool. I didn't know nothing about that, but now I kind of wish that the moderator for his panel had asked him about that, because that would have been cool to hear his perspective on it. But because I'm fascinated by the UFO stuff too, I've always found all that stuff interesting. But I don't know if Oliver actually is his adopted or stepson. I don't know how I should say that for him. But yeah, Oliver and Kate Hudson are his children as well. Right. So, but anyway, so who is what's been the most joyful thing you've done in the last 6 months? The last 6 months, well, again, the Patricia getting to host her panel, the voice actress for Princess Zelda, that's near top of the list. This past weekend, something almost as cool happened, or maybe even cooler, depending on who you ask. I got to host the panel for Kevin Clash, who is the puppeteer and voice actor, most notably for Elmo. But for me personally, I knew him as Master Splinter in the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies. He was the puppeteer for Splinter and did the voice and everything. And I had a surreal moment just before hosting his panel where Kevin wanted to hide the puppet under the table to surprise the audience by bringing out Master Splinter during the panel. And so he put him in a cardboard box, and I had to carry the cardboard box and stick it under the table. And so it was just a surreal moment where I was like, imagine if 10-year-old Josh knew that one day he was going to be carrying Master Splinter in a cardboard box and hiding him under a table, Not only that, it takes you from being a fan to being part of it. Like you're in on it now. You're on the other side of it now. On the other side, like you're peeking behind the curtain almost. Yeah. And that's been an interesting experience, especially when you're meeting these people's agents and managers and going into the green room with them. Like for example, I hosted Diedrich's panel at TupeloCon, got to meet his agent, and then that same agent was at this convention I was just at this past weekend. And as I'm passing through the green room, taking Kevin Clash, I should say, to the panel, I see Diedrich's agent in the green room. He says hey to me, and yeah, it's wild getting to meet all these people and getting to network with everybody. And it's that's interesting. Do you know if he's taking new clients? We'll talk. He might. We'll talk. We'll talk during the break. I need a better agent. FM, it's Dynamite Chad in the morning, back here with Josh Mason, owner of Mason Studios, Masonite Marketing, also head of marketing, I guess, for Huffman Mason, Kicking Lawyer,
and the Kicking Lawyer, and I've seen you guys have put out some videos here recently around town with the Kicking Lawyer, and I was talking about your brother earlier, who is the kicking lawyer, Jerry Mason. And I couldn't remember the name of the character, but usually he's playing that character in Rocky Horror, the doctor's creation.
Rocky. That's the character Rocky.
Oh, the character's name is Rocky.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's how stupid I am about it. Like I promise you, I watched, I understand the phenomena it is, and I have a cursory understanding of it. I've seen the movie. I didn't care for the movie. So it was, and I think it's one of those things where you either just like it or you don't. And
it is. Yeah. You have to have a specific taste, I guess, for that type of film. You know, it's an acquired taste, that type of cinema. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I was looking at that. But anyway, the next convention that you've got, what is that? What's coming up?
Well, I'm done with them for a little while, but the next one it looks like I'll most likely be at will be probably Corinth Comic-Con. And I think right now they're set for Halloween for October 31st. And then right after that, I'll be at Rhode Island for Rhode Island Comic-Con. And those will probably be my last two of the year. Because most of the convention season typically is kind of the summertime. Right. So it's sort of starting to kind of wind down now. But yeah.
If you catch a Bigfoot convention in any of these, and I know that doesn't really cross your pathway as an
I'm sure those exist
because
somewhere.
Entertainment. Oh, they exist.
Yeah, I'm sure those exist.
There's a huge one in the Smoky Mountains. But I'll hit the road with you on those.
All right, cool. Now sounds like a plan. Yeah,
but I get interested in though. I like the entertainment cons. There's ups and downs for them to me, but as somebody who is attending it, and I know that now you don't really do a lot of stuff because you're busy with doing panels and doing the cosplay videos and stuff like that. So you don't get to enjoy it as much as a fan, but as just a fan who attends a con, like, what do you find is the best parts?
I definitely love the celebrity interactions, like just going and getting the autographs and the photos and stuff. I think it's a cool experience because that's something I feel like you'll remember forever, especially if it's somebody you're really a fan of their work, you know. So that's a real cool experience. But besides that, I mean, just the community, you know, you get to go and you get to meet like-minded people who are into the same stuff you're into, whether it be movies or video games or comic books or just pop culture, you know, in general. And you could tell it's a lot of people that, you know, were like me, that were just nerdy kids growing up that were into all this stuff. And, you know, they would maybe go to school and, you know, didn't have that many friends that were into that same kind of stuff because it was kind of considered niche or whatever. And then you get to go to a convention and there's just hundreds or thousands of people there that are all into this stuff. They're all into comic books and superheroes and all that. So just getting to meet those people and talk about, you know, your shared love of these things is just such a cool experience, you know?
Yeah. And like I found, it can be very crowded and uncomfortable at times.
Oh, especially the bigger shows. Yeah.
And in some of the places, are probably better air conditioned than others.
Yeah, that's true.
The big joke about Comic Cons is always the smell.
That is also a problem. Yeah, that's definitely, deodorant is not a hot, you know, it's not something they use as much as they should.
But it's become such a big thing now because it used to be that you would have the big celebrities would only show up at the big events, and a local Comic-Con would have obscure people like know, at best you could get a penciler from a comic series or something,
right? An artist or something. Yeah.
But now it's become such, and I guess because it's such a moneymaker for celebrities, but minor people who had minor roles in some of these cult shows, like we were talking about Star Trek earlier. Star Trek is one of those shows where if you ever land a part on Star Trek, even in one episode, you could forever do the convention circuit with a poster of you as that one 100%, character, and Trekkies will line up.
Yeah.
But there's so much like that now, and especially with streaming and people able to binge stuff, you get different characters from all of these different shows, especially the sci-fi world. And so every convention, it seems like, no matter where it is, whether it's in Corinth, Jackson, Mississippi, Covington, Tennessee, or wherever, you're going to get someone that you know.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
you're not going to go and there's going to be nobody you know there. Somebody that you know is going to be there as a fan.
Yeah, and they've gotten really good at having people from different genres at these shows. So, like, even West Tennessee this past weekend, you know, they had voice actors from anime that were there. They had, you know, Kevin Clash, who's a puppeteer and been on, like, Sesame Street and all this different stuff. And then they had Dante, who is from Hook, the movie Hook. He was Rufio, you know, the character Rufio. And just all these different people. And they had Andy Field, who's from Five Nights at Freddy's, which is a video game series. So it's like, depending on what you're into, there's going to be, like you said, at least one celebrity guest there, or actor or actress that, you know, interests you. And they've gotten really good at that, of getting a nice balance of a whole bunch of different people at these shows.
Yeah, it's amazing when you look at someone, because you'll see some of the advertisement and you'll be like, oh, so-and-so from Firefly or something is there. And it's like, well, you know them, and they may have done that. Or like, I think you met Michael Dorn, right? Who played Worf at one point.
I might have. I've met so many.
I think it's been a while.
Yeah,
but
it's been a minute, yeah.
But yeah, I'm just saying, and he wasn't a minor character, but you know, it's not like he's also some huge movie name,
right?
But it's just amazing to me now. It's almost like they've taken a cue from country music. Hollywood has taken a cue from country music in a way, because country music has had for a long time the Country Music Festival in Nashville, and the Fan Fest is a direct fan to singer interaction, the direct fan to celebrity connection. It's where they go and they talk to the fans, and it's and they've so country music has always kind of had that interaction with their fans, whereas other forms of music and Hollywood hasn't, until San Diego Comic-Con got so big that all the other Comic-Cons got so big.
No, and and now there are so many events now. Like San Diego Comic-Con was really the first one to kind of blow it all up, and then you had all these other conventions start popping up all over the country. And now it seems like, somebody joked and said, it seems like every small town has a convention now. And that's partially true. But yeah, I mean, it is a cool experience when you're a fan. You get to go to these things, you get to meet, you know, these people that you're fans of their work, and you get to have like a conversation with them and stuff like that. And it's something that these conventions and events have facilitated.
So you've got, and now a lot of movies are, movie theaters are putting in this sort of new experience, and some of them are even putting in like the vibrating seats and stuff. And all of that.
The 4DX, I think they call 4DX,
it. Yeah. And so they're trying to re-enhance the movie experience. And there are some movies. I was talking about this the other day. Movies used to be made for the movie screen, and increasingly it became where they weren't. They were more made for home viewing and device viewing,
streaming. Yeah.
And so I think that more than any comfort of seat or sound system is what drove the theater experience down, is that movies weren't designed for that. But now they're back to filming movies in IMAX and really making movies that are designed for a theater experience, and then making them fit into the other genres later.
Yeah, and Nolan's a big, you know, you can thank him a lot for that, because he's really the one who pushed, like, for, you know, the Odyssey to be filmed in IMAX, and they built like a whole new camera rig for the IMAX cameras specifically for that movie. And so he's been one of the big filmmakers, but there's been a lot of filmmakers that have been pushing for that. And I think that a lot of people now are starting to learn that it is a totally different experience when you go sit in a theater and you watch a movie on this big screen versus watching it, you know, at home on your couch. And for me, you can't beat the theater experience. I love the theater experience.
Oh,
you know?
yeah, absolutely. Unless you have your own home theater, maybe. But and I'm talking like with like really good big screen and good sound system. But yeah, I agree. There are some movies that I'm going to see in the theater. One of those movies recently was Spider-Man: Brand New Day.
Oh yeah, so good.
It is so good. I think, my personal opinion, and I've let this ruminate and sit with me, I think it's the best Spider-Man movie that we've had so far.
It is very, very good. I don't think it's my favorite, but it's probably number 2. I think I'm still a big fan of the Sam Raimi movies, particularly 1 and 2. And so I think Spider-Man 2 is still probably my number 1. But I mean, Brand New Day is really, really good. I think that it's the most accurate to like us getting street level Spider-Man like he was in the comics of any of the movies that we've gotten so far. I think they nailed that aspect of Spider-Man the best.
Absolutely.
You know?
They tell the story so well in it. And for it to be a movie that they're using it to set up this next phase of Marvel, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels like a great standalone movie. It's not something where it's just to get you to the next thing. It's a great standalone movie. The story they tell is amazing. The story between MJ, and I've never been a fan of an MJ that's not Mary Jane, because they made it clear that she's not Mary Jane Watson in this universe.
Right.
But the way that they told this story this time, you really felt the emotion of it.
Yeah, they made you care about the characters, I think, a lot more than the previous films did.
The interaction with Punisher was so close to the comics.
Oh,
and Tom Holland's Spider-Man. If I had to nitpick, and this is very nitpicking in the movie, the only thing I would pick on is it seems like in the first 30 minutes or so of the movie, Tom Holland is trying to affect a New York accent that doesn't really sound right.
I noticed that, yeah.
And he loses it later on in the movie, so it doesn't really, but that's like the only very nitpicky thing that I would find wrong with this movie.
It's also kind of a continuity issue because his previous 3 films, he didn't really have that New York accent.
Right.
And then it's like this, it just pops up out of nowhere all of a sudden. And then, like you said, it's not very consistent. So yeah, it's very nitpicky, but I noticed that as well while I was watching it.
But I overall, great movie. You saw End of Oak Street and said it was a great movie.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed it. I don't think the reviews have been as kind. I think I'm kind of an outlier on it, but it was one of those. It's just a fun dinosaur movie. I went in, turned my brain off. I actually saw it while I was in Chicago not this past weekend, but weekend before last, and they got a great AMC dine-in theater up there that I really, really like. And so I went and saw it up there, and it's got Ewan McGregor, Anne Hathaway, and it's just them in like a suburb, and this suburb gets transported into prehistoric times, so them and their family and neighbors are all having to fight off dinosaurs, and I thought it was just a lot of fun, Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
It does look good. Like, I've seen the previews, and it looks like something fun to watch. I just haven't seen it yet. You saw Supergirl in the theater. You said it was okay.
It was okay. It wasn't terrible, wasn't great, watchable. I'd say, it's one you could definitely wait for it to come to streaming, not necessarily something you have to see in the theater,
right.
But it's good. I mean, it's a solid movie.
So what about the other huge hit is The Odyssey?
Oh, I love The Odyssey. I loved The Odyssey. I'll say this. I gave it like a 9 out of 10. I saw it in IMAX while I was in South Carolina. And it's really, really good. It does have some minor moments here and there that are very brief, where I have major issues with the film that keep it from being like a 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah.
But the highs of that movie are so high, like the great moments are so great that it offsets some of the more obscure decisions that they made. But overall, I mean, you need to watch it if you can. And yeah, that's all I'll say on that topic.
Well, real quick, what is the next movie that you're looking most forward to?
It's probably, honestly, Zach Kreger's Resident Evil comes out here in a few weeks. I think it comes out in September. But he's doing another reboot of the Resident Evil, game series or whatever, doing a film adaptation of it. And he was the director of Barbarian. Is a really good horror filmmaker. So yeah, I'm excited for that one. And then beyond that, it's probably the big ones, which are Doomsday and Dune Part 3 in December. So that's going to be I think they're calling it Doomsday because they come out the same day. So I'll be in the theater all day that day when those come out. All
right. Well, Josh, thanks for coming in today, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, man.
All right. That's Josh Mason. You can find him on YouTube and all your socials. Just look for Mason Studios and you'll find Josh Mason. Right now it's Kane Brown on US 51 Country 93.5 FM.